Zoom. All right. Sean and I were experimenting a little bit before we have Bob join us, trying to figure out what the sound settings are that's going awry in my configuration. But I'm going to need to hook up a recorder and measure all the volume levels because I think things are still a little bit off. But we're going to try to go with what was working last week. And hopefully you can hear Bob and Sean if they say hi.
Is it better now? Yep, I heard myself. Muting.
All right. I heard myself. Run away, run away. Run away, run away.
Well, it's not just that I hear myself, it's that I hear you twice.
Yeah,
a couple
it gets weird.
Apart.
That's very weird. All right. Oh, I need to close my window. Just a moment.
And then for whatever reason, my brain tracks the later one. So then if you're expecting me to respond, then I'm going to respond even later.
Yeah, it's no good. It's no good. I had a circumaural headset to block out, sounds from my home, and it was great. Except, when your ears are completely covered, your own voice is really muffled, and I didn't know how loud I was being, which probably meant I was loud, which is a problem when you're on a meeting. So I tried to tweak it to send audio back into the headset, but there was that little bit of a delay that just drove me crazy. I couldn't do it.
Yeah, the delay is a thing, man. Trying to get rid of that delay is a challenge. I think you need really high-end audio equipment for that to work.
Well, you mentioned being able to plug your monitor into the microphone. So that would be live, right? No.
Yeah, again, I think you're right. That is fine if you get a high-end microphone. I don't know how high-end it has to be, actually. This one's okay. The problem in my case is that I actually listen to the stream to make sure that everything's there.
Ooh, more than Spot?
I don't just hear myself, I hear the stream.
Including yourself?
Yes. So I can hear a slight, it's like standing in an echo chamber and talking. You can hear a slight bounce behind it.
And that doesn't drive you crazy?
That was funny.
Oh. No comment?
No, no, the Pac-Man threw me.
Sorry, I haven't turned off my mail yet.
I've grown accustomed to it. It's kind of like what I think everybody says. The only way that you can get comfortable hearing your own voice is by just listening. So,
right, but why would anyone want to get comfortable with their own voice? Ew.
Yeah, when you have to edit it, you get there.
No, that's fair.
I got a small taste of it when I was, because I've been editing my kids' soccer and I'm out there talking while the games are going. And so I could hear my voice in that, of course, but it's a little bit different because the camera's pointing away from me. I'm behind it, but I'm still close enough to hear it. So I got comfortable-ish with that, but now with like the live streams, I really need to be going back and listening to some of them because I don't know a lot about how well they're doing. So I need to go back and listen to some of them. It's on my improvement list, and that's where I just know I'm going to have to get used to it. Listening to my own voice.
Yeah.
All right, let's go ahead and get to something that people want to know is going on. There we go. This is what we're doing today. We'll give you a few minutes to let everybody have time to show up. It says there's more than 2 people watching the stream, so that's good. I'll do roll call in a minute, but you're always welcome to chat. And obviously, we're still working our way through the audio, hiccups, challenges, things like that. One of these days, I will have it down to a science, and it will just work. And OS updates and driver updates will not throw me for a loop for 3 weeks or whatever it has been. But not
so just in time for the next Patch Tuesday is what you're saying?
No, I really hope I can get it down to where this is always the settings, and these always work, and I know how it works and all that kind of stuff. That's what I'm hoping. So I'll get that. All right, let's see. It's a minute after, a couple more minutes. I want to give Jacob a chance to always show up by 9:35. Unless Jacob says he's here, then I think if Jacob says he's here, it's kind of like a time to go, right? It's 9:35 or Jacob. Is that the start time? No, because
No,
it's not. Whichever is first. There we go.
You normally always wait till 9:35.
I always wait till 9:35, even if Jacob shows up early. Give all those other people that get on Jacob time to get in and hang out.
It's tradition, right? 5-minute buffer.
The 5-minute buffer in between meetings.
Yeah.
Everybody's rushing from all the other meetings to get inside and close the door and put the headphones on. I don't know.
Yeah.
Click on the link.
I know at least one company that has suggested strongly that meetings should start 5 after and only last for 55 minutes so that everyone has time before the next meeting. Now, why they don't say start on the hour and stop after 55 minutes, I don't know. Maybe there's just some kind of psychological thing about, oh, we can go to the hour, and then you don't have time for bathroom break.
So it's easier to go to the hour than it is
to start. Yeah,
to start.
To stop at the hour.
It's easier to start at random times and easier to end at the hour. I was going to say, why not start at 5 after and end at 5 before?
Well,
but probably for that reason.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On the other hand, it's extremely rare that I have back-to-back meetings anymore. So.
So random tip. This 5-minute thing was actually, I think it was Jacob time. Hey, Ron, great to have you here. Sean, this is why we wait 5 minutes, right? This Jacob time thing really did start through these meetings, but I've come to realize, and this is a tip for anybody that's planning to go start their own live stream. I've been thinking about writing it down. Is that if you're going to run a live stream and have like an episode or a show part of it, you're not just going to sit on stream and talk to people and things like that. So the timing, there's no real organization. But if you have an organization to it, what I'm learning is that this 5-minute window, this start, I don't know, we kick it open usually about 10 minutes early, I think, roughly. So the stream usually starts about 10 minutes early, and usually starts about 5 minutes before 9:30. And then we usually kick it off by 9:35, again, to let Jacob get in that window. What I've learned is that window not only gives time to join, because we want to get all you guys here, it also allows that buffer to sort out all the technical difficulties of the one-man live streaming thing, and by talking to people. And it's important to like have started this, to be doing things, to talk to people and getting a little bit of feedback, which is why I love that Ron always says that he's here. A little bit of feedback to know that there are people out there. Or Sean or Bob, check the stream real quick just to make sure that they're getting sound out of it. Because if I try to open the stream, all kinds of things get really weird here. So I really appreciate them doing that. Anyway, that little time, the 10 minutes, even 5 minutes is probably enough, before the stream, be there, and then hit the go button. I'm learning, I think I'm learning that that's a much better way to do it than what I was trying to do, which was get it set up, and then go like a big bang right all at the start, like the way they do on TV, I guess. I don't know how, but
it's a lot like old school meetings, right? Back in before times when people met in conference rooms, people would start filtering in. Some industrious people might show up early, probably because they were just on their way from their previous meeting, and it was easier to just go straight to the next one. And then people filter in 2, 3, 4 minutes after, and you're not talking work, you're just chatting, and that's kind of what we're doing.
Yeah, and for a live streamer, it gives you a chance to kind of straighten everything out. Anyway, if you ever want to get into live streaming, I'd recommend thinking about that tip. And I didn't have anybody else, because I watched a lot of different live streamers talk about how they do things, because I was curious. I wanted to try to do well, and none of them talked about this. So it's my tiny little personal tip that may or may not work for you. All right, it's 5 after. Let's go. It's 6 after. Let's go get this thing started. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. This is the WiX Online Meeting 237. June. Early June? Doesn't feel like June, but we'll see. It's 2022. As always, these meetings are recorded for those of you that are not with us right here, right now. What are we doing today? Well, we're doing the things we've been doing for quite a while, which is triage. If you're here, go ahead and say hi. Ron's already said hi. Ron, great to have you with us. And then we'll do questions and comments if anybody has anything after that. Last week we had a great, I think it was last week, 2 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, last meeting. Ron had a great set of questions and I saw a commit from him that was like totally in line with all that. So that was great. Good conversations, and then code comes from it. Good stuff. So if you have more, think about those and then start, figure out how you're going to type them all in. While you're thinking about that, Bob, you ready to do some triage? Maybe?
As soon as I unmute, I am.
Yeah. All right, here we go. Triage. Boom. Triage starts off with 3 of the same thing. I really hope they're 3 of the same thing. And there's actually a 4th one that got closed. That basically comes down to Votive is not installing in Visual Studio 17.2, or that's not fair. It is sometimes installing, or some people are having failures. And we've had 4 issues opened. Here are 3 of them that have not been triaged. And I have linked all of them to a central community issue. What do you call them? I guess that's what you call them. Visual Studio community issue here. Trying to bring all the data to the Visual Studio team so that they can agree that, oh, something has changed in our installation process and is not working perfectly in 17.2. Because we haven't changed anything. So I don't really know what we're going to do with these bugs as they are. So I think the only question is, actually one person said thanks and actually closed their issue. So he's like, all right, I'm going to go follow that, or her, who knows. The other 2, do we preemptively close them? Thinking this is an issue, do we keep one open? What do you guys think we should do here?
We can keep the most active one open. I'm a little worried. So there's some commonality with Visual Studio Community Edition, but then the middle issue,
the Enterprise one,
6795, explicitly says Enterprise, because I've had luck installing Votive 2022 into both Enterprise and Professional 17.2. So
yeah, I haven't been able to reproduce this since we starting issues. I was like, I don't know. It worked. Both the 18 and the 20 release that has the updated certificate and small bug fixes for 17.2, which are less important now because Visual Studio recognized that their breaking change is going to break a lot of extensions, and so they handled that. Still need to get that 20 release out, but then we started having all these installation issues, so I kind of paused on getting that out there. And now we're having it with both, so I don't think it's us. We didn't change anything. Or let me say that differently. It could be us, but that means they changed something else in 17.2 that broke things, and we'll have to adapt to that. So we're waiting on feedback on this issue is really what it comes down to. So you want to keep the most active. Unfortunately, is the most active the original? Although the title of that's not great, because he has something else in this one going on where like corrupts VS, a whole bunch of things. I don't know, get his drive, or I don't know exactly. Yeah, he was actually having problems like running Visual Studio afterwards and so on and so forth.
Well, the thing is, he's the one that opened that community issue.
He is, and I really appreciate that. And he came back and said, oh, there's that. And it was really funny. The person, in the end, he actually left a comment here for a second saying, hey, so they're kicking this back to you. And he followed up with the Visual Studio guy saying, hey, well, it must be a problem in the extension. But then he added a follow-up question on the community side that said, hey, were you able to reproduce this? And they said, oh, yeah, after trying 3 times, then we saw exactly the same behavior you saw, or something like that. And I'm like, so nothing else changed, and it works every 3rd time. That sounds like something to look at the installer, right? But I don't know, it's first-line support, first-tier support, so they're just trying to make things go away, not have them get to the dev team.
Well, as of today, they've tagged it back for further investigation.
Under investigation. Yay! I am having the same problem. The workaround suggests to do not fix the issue. Thank you for the feedback. The issue has been escalated for further investigation. Excellent. Excellent. Great. So which of these do we keep open to track, if any?
We could open a new one just as an explicit tracking issue.
I guess we could. I'm always, yeah, this is this ancient office thing. I'm always like, that's really bad etiquette in a testing organization to open for the dev to open an issue and dupe all the other issues to it, because then the testers get hits against their dupe, right? But none of that applies here. Sorry, it's just old habits coming through where the tester will show up in your office going, "You duped my bug to your new one, but my bug is the same thing," and I'm like, okay, whatever. Sorry,
Well, I
mine was
would
more
say that,
descriptive than your bug. That's all.
but these are actual dupes, so
Yeah, well, dupes counted against testers. Anyway, nobody cares about that ancient history. Testers don't exist in Office anymore anyway. So
that's
I
true.
don't know that anybody counts like that. You're right. We could do that.
I'm
One
also
clean
fine
issue.
with using 6786. It, yeah, it is the most active. It has a tie to
The issue, all
the
of them.
issue.
We
It's
tie them all
not
together, and there'll be like one big
the
bow.
cert. Well, yeah, I don't know. Now I'm waffling because it starts out with the cert issue,
Yeah, which is one random thing in all the mix.
but
No, you're right. We should create a new one that's nice and clean that essentially says this is tracking this issue against Visual Studio. Here are all the other issues that are related to it. And that way we can pin it up here the way Sean did this one that seems to have headed off a bunch of things. So maybe we can head off a few more people saying, "Hey, you know this doesn't work in 17.2?" And we're like,
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I'll open that.
The fact that we got 4 issues so fast, I was just like, that doesn't happen very often.
And it didn't happen with 17.2.0.
Oh, is it 17.2.3?
Well, I don't know. I don't know if it's that one.
Okay.
And although that's actually worth mild investigation because I don't think I've tried to reinstall Votive after that.
Yeah, I have 17.2. I don't think I have 2.2 or 2.3.
I'm just curious if it was 17.2.0 that caused it, or also the fact that they went through 17.2.1.2.3 in a couple of weeks.
It was fast. It didn't even reset my counter. I mean, I didn't even get to 2. It's like I have a counter for those people who don't follow every 4 weeks. I wait for 4 weeks before installing a Visual Studio update because they've been pretty disruptive to my life. And after 4 weeks, I figure, yeah, it's probably good enough. And it happens quite often that within those 4 weeks, another release comes out, and I'm like, yep, glad I didn't get that one. And I just keep resetting my clock then. So yeah, I think that's probably what happens here. Bob, I think you're right. I think the right answer is to open a new issue that's clean, tie all these together, and then see what we come back. And it's always possible some of these will get, we have to unwind some of them. Like the Community Edition really does have an issue that Enterprise does not.
Right.
That would surprise me, but could be
Yeah.
something like that. Then we'll unwind the other ones back. All right. Hey, Pai Chula, welcome. Number 5 here. Number 5 here. I don't know what that refers to.
This Votive problem.
There's
Oh.
5 watching.
There's 5. Yeah, there's 5 people watching, or there are going to be 5 Visual Studio issues open. I feel like the count. 5. Whoa, Anyway, let's go. 5 will be great.
Someone has kids.
I do. I'm the only one. Yes, that's right. Explains a lot, doesn't it? That's my excuse. I don't know what for, but I'm holding it in my back pocket. This issue came in, and Bob and I both reacted similarly. Wow, they did a lot of work, but didn't provide the most important piece of information, the log file. Because we get
Can't do nothing without a log.
this whole thing to try to reproduce the problem when a log file would tell us what's being held in use. Also, I think this statement here, the file in use dialog does not appear when doing an install. It should not appear during a repair, which, while that would be nice, that's not true. It's actually...
It's almost never true. It's usually far more likely to cause files in use during a repair because...
Repair or upgrade?
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah. Repair is always in place. So, of the hierarchy of things most likely to cause files in use, repairing in place is a big one.
Yeah. So it's not the initial install that has a problem. So after this person did all this wonderful work, where do we send them? Where do we send this? It's
Well, end of the day, this
This-
really has nothing to do with WiX. It's
Yeah.
about MSI. So, yeah, I'll suggest posting the log and
go take it to a support forum somewhere.
yeah.
Yeah, I think this is a classic case where you just convert it to a discussion.
Yep.
For example, yes.
As we've had discussions about off stream. Anyway, inside joke. Fine. That goes off as support. All right, now I think we get to the two most interesting issues here, because well, I opened them, and oh, I forgot the link. Sorry. Anyway, these issues have come up as I've been fixing other issues. Oh, good, I did link to it. Yay! I didn't remember I did. Anyway, 6749 is about the fact that you cannot silently uninstall MSUs. I've been working on this issue on stream, if you've been following along weekly, and came across the question of should we keep the KB attribute, because the KB attribute is the thing that indicated that it could be uninstalled, or it was used to uninstall it, the MSU that is, in a bundle. And on the stream, I kind of got nostalgic to keep the KB attribute as a useful piece of metadata about the MSU. And Bob called me a digital hoarder, for which I did not have a good comeback. So I figured I'm
That's
probably
the best kind.
a digital hoarder.
No. Well, it's the best kind of poke when you don't have a good comeback.
Doesn't make me feel very good. Anyway, so anyway, should we keep the attribute on this element or not, knowing that it's not going to do anything? And I'm pretty sure, based off Bob's comment here, the answer is no.
The KB number is almost always in the file name, so it's at least a little duplicative, and it has no other purpose than your nostalgic documentation.
All right, I can't really defend this. You can go ahead and give this to me, and I will go roll it with the other one, and it will disappear from both the KB, and there's no point keeping it in the symbol if it's not in the language. So I'll remove it from the symbol as well.
Cool.
Look at that. It's assigned to me already. All right. This one. I don't know what the answer is this one, and I don't have strong opinions on this one. So I'm just bringing this and hoping smarter people than me have opinions that are good, whatever that means. So been doing work on the validation of files using hashes versus authenticode and getting that separation, or those two options, clearly delineated in the language. One of the things I realized while working on that was that you could have a situation where you have one part of the package, like one file of the package is signed authenticode, and then another file that is not signed authenticode. And if you then said, I want to use authenticode's signature verification, but only one of the files is signed and the other files are not, what should we do there? Is it okay to have only one file being able to be updated or validated with authenticode and the other thing's not? And I just wanted to talk about that because I was doing this also on stream and I wasn't going to be able to think all the way through it. And I kind of went, I could go either way. So without my, any opinions there, what do you guys think? There are the cases both where it's the XE pack, in this case, like an XE package. Here, the XE is not signed, but like the cab that goes with it, I don't know, whatever, is signed, versus the other way around, where, hey, the XE is signed, but the cabinet is not signed. And we don't have to, they do not have to have the same answers. We just have to decide what
Some
we're gonna do.
files can't be signed,
Yes.
so it needs to not prevent you from having a signed XE package with unsigned text files next to it or whatever.
Right. So that's this case. Do we allow the other case? I kind of figured that was the way this one would go, that we would need to do it this way. Here, if the XE is not signed, should we do certificate authentic code validation for files that aren't the XC. Or if the entry point package, what the package payload, if it's hash based, everything is hash based.
I don't really want to do the work to enforce that.
I don't see a huge benefit to, having the tool set have an opinion on that matter. You can, I'm having trouble coming up with a use case where it matters, but, say you need to ship a redist, but for whatever reason you want to wrap it. Okay, this is getting convoluted. Say you have WebView 2 and you include it with your, with its certificate information, but you want to wrap it to make it prettier. I don't know. And that one doesn't have a certificate. This is really convoluted, and I don't think there's a use case for it, but I don't see why we should prevent it.
All right. So essentially, do nothing to prevent either of these scenarios. Allow them both to go through. I just want to make sure I'm playing it back right.
We agree that one has to happen, has to be supported.
I think the bottom one needs to be supported.
Yeah.
That was
the other
my
one is
guess.
Meh. Who cares?
All right. So don't block it, which means it'll just go through. If you do that, that's fine. You could do that. It means that you'd be able to update this cab independent of this XC if you wanted. Maybe that makes sense. Okay?
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
All right. That was easy. Like I said, I didn't have strong opinions on it. The ones that we ended up coming back with are not at all surprising. Kind of the way I guess I thought it could go. So that's good. Wow. Is that it? I think that's triage. I think that's everything in triage. That went pretty fast. Yeah, that's not in burn, but that's okay. I don't think, is it in burn? Doesn't care, right? Or
To be
Burn
clear,
doesn't care.
this
yeah,
is
okay.
burn flavored. I can't. We don't have the labels. To
Our
differentiate
labels are so
between-
messed up.
We
Yeah, but-
really need to redo our labels.
The problem is that
Remember
if it's
I pushed
burn, it's
back.
going to show up in all of Sean's stuff. So
Yeah, remember I
Yeah.
want us to treat burn differently.
We don't. We need labels to be able to do that.
yeah, don't put burn on this. That says engine to me. I'm fine with that. We're there. Just put binder. I'll deal with it. It's actually, I'm not even sure it's in the binder. I think it's actually in the compiler. But anywho, we really. And at a certain level, compiler and binder. Never mind. I'm not going to label thing right now. We've talked about it before. We just have not sat down and made enough decisions. All right.
All of the labels are based on V3. We've done
Yes.
very little to bring them into the V4 world, and I agree that we need to do that.
I have touched all the issues with burn, so I would like it if we stop putting burn on these kinds of issues.
That's fine. We need other labels. That's, like I said, our labels are bad. We need new labels so that we can. Yeah, these things are burn flavored, and they impact the toolset side, the build side. I realize they're not burn engine bugs, but right now we don't differentiate between them, and we should.
Yes, we are. If you put it on there, I will take it off.
Well, yeah, that doesn't disprove my statement.
We need to fix the labels. All right. But we're not doing that now. We're not doing it in V4. There's too many other things we have to get done first. So that's essentially what it is.
A lot of
It
big-
bugs us, but not enough to fix it right now. It's really what it comes down to.
Well, because it's not an easy fix. I mean, we have to look at everything and come up with new labels and or move existing labels. It's a mess.
Yeah.
Oh wait, keeps coming back to they're a mess.
Yeah. I thought triage might have been a little bit more today, but I guess not. So we're going back to other things going on. Things that people want to ask, talk about, questions, comments, other stuff going on that is out there? Anything? It's been pretty quiet. It does look like we've had another hit in the comments on the Visual Studio issue. So yes, do go upvote that community tracker, whatever they call it, the Visual Studio bug tracker feedback site, whatever.
So I've been working on the XE package ARP entry detection stuff. And I'm running in, like when I transfer that for the bundles, I'm trying to figure out how this is going to work where if it's not cached, then it falls back to the ARP entry. But we don't really have a concept today of like the caching being optional. So I think I need to add a new cache package mode. Like today we always need to like it needs to be cached at the end. But we need a new mode that's like verify only, where it'll try to validate it if it's in the cache, and if it's already validated, then we're good to go. But if it fails validation, then it shouldn't even try to cache it because it can fall back to the package cache or the ARP entry. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So you have bundle A that contains bundle B, right?
Right.
And then bundle A is being uninstalled, and for whatever reason its package cache is, let's say, cleared. So none of its child packages are there. So if you ask bundle A, is bundle B cached? The answer is no. And today that would mean, oh, well, I have to go get it so I can uninstall it.
Yeah.
However, with this new feature, it'd be like, oh, I see that B is actually installed through ARP, and I found the XE, so you're in luck. I don't have to cache it.
So I think just to make that scenario a little more realistic, bundle A never caches bundle B.
Yeah, that's the easiest way to get in that scenario. It just says don't cache, right? Or you're sorry, let me back up. Are you saying it has no cache or cache equals remove on it, or it has a condition on it so it never installed B?
Cache equals remove.
All right, so it installed it and cached it, installed it, and then removed it from the cache. Got it. Okay, that scenario. Yeah, that's the one of the easiest ways to get into this scenario. So yeah, what would that look like? Normally, during plan, the end result for B would be cache equals yes, uninstall equals yes, or I'm sorry, whatever. Action is uninstall, cache is yes, true.
Right.
But because you found it, cache does not have to equal true. Do we need, like, I'm not against adding another state. It's just more states, bigger machine. If we don't do this, are we missing? So if we say uninstall but cache is false in plan, that can't represent the space well enough.
So that the problem with that is where, let's say the package cache got completely deleted. You're running the uninstall from, because you downloaded bundle A. So now you want to go uninstall bundle B. Bundle A needs to go download bundle B because bundle B doesn't exist anywhere on the machine anymore.
Right. In that case, cache would have to equal true.
Right.
But if B was installed already, could cache equal false and uninstall, and action be uninstall? Would that be able to fully represent the state?
But when it goes to uninstall bundle B, that's going to fail because it doesn't exist on the machine. the quiet uninstall string is pointing to a file that doesn't exist.
In that case, though, cache would have been true up front during planning, right?
How would plan have known that in that case needed to be cache equals true?
Oh, when does I guess that's the question. When is the uninstall string evaluated to find bundle B? I would say it would be done during plan. It'd be like, oh, do I have the BXE here? Yes, great, use that. Oh, I don't. Well, let me try to use ARP, all within plan, to go find it.
Because of rollback, I'm needing to get it during execute, during apply.
Because of rollback, interesting. What's in rollback that needs it?
That was a wrinkle that I didn't think of before, but if you install bundle B, then you install package C, and C fails, it needs to go and uninstall bundle B, which might not be a good example for bundles, but for the exe package ARP entry is a scenario. Although maybe that doesn't apply for bundles because you should be able to use the cache that you used to install.
Yeah, it shouldn't be removed yet, right? It gets removed at the very end. Ideally, as many decisions as possible are made during plan. That's a thing. So I'm still trying to think through the case where this one needs it at runtime, and then adding states. So if you need the state, you need the state. I was just trying to do it without the state, but that's without being deep in the burn engine for a long time. Because
shouldn't some of this happen during detect as well?
Yeah, I mean, originally I was grabbing it during detect.
Oh, okay.
Sure. Yeah, detect would be fine. Yeah. Except in the case where you're installing it. But we always have that case. Yeah, where during install the state of the machine changes. Well, detect is out of date, so you can't use it always for that case.
Yep.
But you're right. Yeah, the uninstall string fact could be detected. Yeah.
But then during plan, you would evaluate the string and check the existence of the file. And that tells you whether to try caching it or not.
Well, if the bundle's in the package cache, do we use that one first? I guess which one is preferred, the uninstall string or the package that's in the cache?
Well, you need to validate the cache before you can use it.
And that happens during detect.
No, I mean, you're kind of doing a really simple probing of whether a file is there to see whether it's cached, but
yeah, plan
it's a
doesn't
really
hash.
shallow detection of caching.
But plan won't hash the file, right?
Sorry,
So,
I was thinking of detect, but it's...
detect doesn't hash the files either.
Okay, so you can get cache present, cache missing, cache partial. Partial is what I was thinking of.
I'm pretty sure I removed partial in 4.
Oh, well, that won't be a problem.
Yeah, but present at detect time means it seems to be there, but it's not like present and verified.
Okay.
So is the case, Sean, that you're bringing up then that it's present, but it's wrong? So now we have to go do work.
Right.
If the uninstall string is there, how much verification do we do for that? Of the thing it points at?
Well, I mean, if we want to prefer the package cache, then we can't decide anything at plan time. We need to actually validate the hashes and everything during apply before we can decide whether we actually have the cached package available.
Yeah, I was thinking that we could make the decision, oh, this is present in the cache, so we will use that as the preferred uninstall, or as the uninstall. But also note that we have the uninstall string, so if we can't use that file for some reason, we could fall back to the uninstall string at runtime. And that's just where I was going through how much do we verify of the uninstall string file? The uninstall string ends up pointing at a file. How much do we bother to verify that target?
So right now I have the exe package is basically doing no verification
Yeah.
until it's actually trying to run it. And when it tries to run it, if it's a per machine package, then it verifies it's in program files or the package cache.
But it doesn't check the hash, or that it's a
There
cache
is
file,
no
because it may not be a
hash.
cached file. Yeah. Because it could point to any file on the system. Yep. Okay. So it's just that there's no verification of the bits of the file when using the uninstall string.
We don't have anything to compare it against. We don't have a source of truth.
We had the hash of the original file, though. The uninstall, yeah. We have a hash, right. We have a hash of the file that was the install. In the case of a lot of these things, the uninstall exe is not at all the same exe as the install exe. Yeah, there's all kinds of things you just can't. So you say we can't use the hash of the exe to validate the hash of the uninstall string.
Right.
That just doesn't happen. Could for a bundle, because they happen to be the same. Oh, that's not true either, because it's going to be the engine bundle, not just the engine part, not the actual attached container. Okay, so there is no verification, no hash verification of the file that the uninstall string points at. I
Right.
think that's all right. I get that now. Yeah, so that means that the uninstall string can always be a fallback if the cache one isn't present. Could be. That could be one way of doing it.
Right.
That could always be done during plan.
I mean, you can grab it during plan.
Oh, but it won't help if we. You can grab. Well, we can verify the file exists. So the uninstall string is a file, points at a file.
And what do we do if it doesn't exist?
But we can't use it, right? I mean, if the uninstall string points at a file that does not exist, we can't use that as the uninstall information, right?
Well, I mean, that's true, but so the way I have it today is an exe package will just fail to uninstall when it's trying to execute the package if there's no quiet uninstall string.
So, yeah.
There's really no other option.
Except to ignore it. Yeah, this is the tricky part about uninstalls. How much do we prevent things from uninstalling? But maybe that's the force switch. What are the
The force uninstall will
Yeah.
get the bundle to uninstall itself, even if packages are left behind.
right? So that would work around this case where the exe for whatever reason is busted. All right. So That's fine. Uninstall fails if the exe points at a thing that doesn't exist or fails for whatever reason. So then the question is, bundle B is in the cache, but it's invalid. The files are invalid. And the uninstall string points at the package cache somewhere because it's a bundle, but that is invalid as well. I guess I'm just trying to avoid the case where you have to cache again, cache during uninstall, because it's a pretty bad experience. It's a pretty bad user experience.
So I
Prompt
guess
for source during
so
uninstall is pretty bad.
I was thinking like have a verify only mode where it'll try to just go and validate what's there. I guess it could give the BA the option to go and cache the whole thing if it wants, but the default option would be to ignore the cache and then fall back to the uninstall string. And then if that fails, then it fails.
Yep. And when you say ignore the cache, if the files are bad, ignore the cache?
Yeah, if the files are bad, then don't try to use the original source
Fall
to
back.
uninstall the bundle.
Yeah. If fall back, or and if they're bad, all right. If they're bad and there is no uninstall string, we could just fail at that point too, rather than trying to cache the files.
I guess I thought I would make it fail later, but
Oh, you make it fail later, like when the uninstall happened?
yeah.
Ah, I see. So the files are corrupt in the cache, but let's try anyway. Maybe it'll work. Maybe some gigantic cab is messed up, but the exe is still there, and the exe has all the logic, so everything will work out fine. That
No, that's not what I was meaning.
Okay.
I meant that I didn't want to try to evaluate the uninstall string during cache. That seemed like something you shouldn't be doing during cache, but I mean I could do it. Just something I hadn't considered. I wasn't talking about trying to run the files even if they're invalid, because we can't do that. The only thing we could fall back to is the quiet uninstall string.
Yeah, the more I think about it, the less excited I am about caching during uninstall. Like the going and getting files and putting them in the cache. So what you just described of the during uninstall, if the files are in the cache, validate them. If they're bad, then we're not uninstalling right now. We're not uninstalling that package. Unless there's an uninstall string that we can fall back to.
Right. I mean, I would probably add a BA message so the BA can opt in to actually caching it. But
During cache verification, turn around and then ask for the file. I see. It essentially be, all right, this file's corrupt. If you could provide it, I'll use it.
I was thinking of the higher level of this package is corrupt. Do you want to cache the entire package? Like, don't do it on a per file basis. Like, as soon as one file fails in validation mode, then validation mode failed. And then it's up to the BA whether it wants to upgrade the cache mode to full mode or whatever.
Is it easier if they just go, uninstall cache is busted, just repair? Right? I mean, that's essentially what's going to happen, right? I mean, the end result is you repair the cache. I'm just struggling with how much to do during uninstall, how much caching to do during uninstall. How much work should the engine be doing in those kind of situations?
I mean, it's already doing that for exe packages, so I don't really see it as a bad thing. I mean, obviously the user doesn't want to get file prompts during an uninstall. But if they have to choose between that and the whole thing failing, then they probably would rather get the prompts.
I'm thinking about the BA. What's the BA going to do? It's going to say, I mean, what's the default BA say in this case? Yeah, sure, fix it up, which then turns into cache mode, right? Essentially, it goes into caching, and you'll then get file prompts, or you'll start getting file source resolution callbacks, right?
Yeah. I mean, I thought the default would be false, though. Like, try to fall back to the uninstall string if it exists.
Yeah,
I mean,
I
I
agree.
guess
Yes, if there's an uninstall string, that is the ideal. So, yeah, just fall back to this instead.
that would be a reason to grab the uninstall string at that point, so that the caching could verify whether it exists or not, and then the BA could get that information as well when it's being told that validation failed.
Well, I was hoping you could do it at plan, know if there's the uninstall string, and then plan such that the cache action knows, does it have a fallback option or not? So rather than at cache time make the decision, just make the decision at plan so that it's already been made and there's less thinking during the execution of these things. Less reactivity, oh, this file failed to cache. Oh, well, now let's go do the logic to go look at uninstall string. Instead of all that reactivity, try to push all that into plan. So when we look at a plan, you can say, oh, yeah, this cache operation has the ability to fall back to uninstall string, and it's just stored in the action. That way the plan is essentially the transaction log ahead of time. That's the idea of it.
I can look into that. I mean, I think if it's going to be during plan, it should be during detect instead.
Sure, sorry, yeah. But detect is better. Sorry, I keep saying plan, but yes, if you can do it to detect, that's even better. I totally agree. I always detect. Yeah, no, that's fine. Yeah, detect is better. If it can be done in detect, that's great. If it can be done in plan, that's good. Then everything else has to be done in execute. I think that's kind of the earlier, the better. Maybe that's the easiest way of saying it. So that execution makes the fewest amount of decisions possible, because it makes plenty already. Mm-hmm. Does that get rid of the need for another state?
No, because
No, it's another bit then, right? It's the fallback bit, right?
we still have to have a validate only mode.
A validate only mode.
To where it's not prompting for source when a file fails verification.
I see. It's cache and that validate mode is used during uninstall.
Yeah, and there's actually another case where there's somewhere in the code right now that's like skipping the rollback. So if you try to uninstall an MSI, then source is not needed, so it doesn't try to cache the package. But typically the rollback action is to install. So there's code during plan today that says if we don't have source and the rollback is install, then we're going to skip the rollback because we don't have source.
Yeah.
But as we discussed before, we don't actually know during plan whether we have source or not.
We don't have verified source. We know if the files are there, we just don't know if they're the correct verified files, right?
Right.
Right. Okay.
So that was something that I wasn't able to fix earlier, that this could be fixed as well, where it's instead of deciding that during plan, it'll be during cache, it'll try to validate whether the package is actually there. And if it's not there, then it needs to change, it needs to block the rollback install action somehow.
Yeah, those two actions have to be tied in some way. Mm-hmm. We have a couple some other places of that. Not many, but yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that is it similar to the scenario where when you're in a normal install of a non-vital package, if caching fails for a non-vital package, the install operation has to get skipped, right?
Right. Yeah.
There's some tie between those already. This is almost exactly the same sort of thing, just when you're running in backwards.
Right.
Yeah, that makes sense. That all ties together. Yeah, I could see that being needed. I don't know if that helps you, but yeah, I can see how you get into that spot. Yep. And then
Yeah,
the devil do
this
details.
a little bigger than I expected.
There's always
But
something.
yeah.
I'm quite used to that right now. I'm getting a lot of those at work right now. I'm trying to fill a little bit of time while Ron writes a multi-paragraph situation report, which is interesting. He has to split it into, what are we at, 200 characters? So
Yeah, 200.
I don't know if he's writing it in Notepad and then pasting it paragraph by paragraph. It's 200. I don't know how many characters are in a 200, or how long is a 200 character paragraph? Bob might know that off the top of his head. That is the
Well, it's
appropriate
shorter
size.
than a tweet.
Oh, that's true. 280 characters, right?
Yeah.
Shorter than a tweet. Why didn't they make it 280? That would have been that's probably a little bit too on the nose. 280 is what 140 times 2, which was 140 was the old, or is I guess the current SMS message, but all the software on phones today just kind of blurs that line and I think sends multiple messages.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Ron's had 5 minutes to post more than a sentence. 200 characters is not a lot. Just trying to make sure he didn't fall asleep or something. Get bored with a detailed, in-depth conversation about the burn engine where I'm trying to dig up all these ancient things and Sean's pointing all the details. I'm like, oh yeah, forget about that one.
How could anyone think that's boring?
Well, if you don't work in burn, I'm sure you're kind of like, wow, there's a lot of things over there. You know, if you are interested in burn, you can learn quite a bit of detail from those small things. and then go drop in the code and be like, oh, okay, I see how this all fits together. That's the dream anyway. All right, Ron, I'm running out of time. I'm going to poke now at the next time slot. That would be the 23rd, June 23rd, I think.
That's right.
Yep.
Yeah.
It seems like a normal day, June 23rd, 9:30. I'm waiting for Ron to drop a sentence or something in here. Anything?
At least get us started.
A dot, dot, dot. I mean, isn't that what all the messaging apps do these days? Dot, dot,
Yeah.
dot. And then, except I actually need a physical enter after it for it to get sent to us. Ron, you're killing me, man. 1, 2, 3. Oh, I don't know. Maybe he's going to ending with my signature. So I think that says that he's sending this. He's going to send it here and not like in an email somewhere. We'll email. That sounds great.
We'll email. There we go.
I think that sounds like a great plan because if it's multi-paragraph, yeah, this is a very hard place to put it. It's not exactly a chat thing. All right, 2 weeks. We'll do all this again. 9:30 Pacific again. June 23rd, we'll do triage again. We'll talk about progress and everything that we've done probably. And I guess we'll see what happens. Every time I'm like, yeah, maybe we won't have many things to triage. It'll be a very quick meeting. But then we always show up with something. Visual Studio gave us a lot of the excitement this week. That's it. 2 weeks from now, we'll be back. And we'll do all this. June 23rd. Till then, you guys take it easy. Bye.
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 Yay! All right. Look forward to the whatever you call it, the email, Ron. I was like, situation report. That's what I was trying to get back to. The situation report. Sit rep. Soldier. No, nothing like that. All right.
I will
seems
mention
fine
that
now.
as after the discussion we had last meeting about VMs, I got
Oh, dude,
tests running on
Dude.
Amex.
you should have done this on stream. All right, this is bonus material for all the people that come back and check this.
Well,
All right.
it's not done yet.
Okay. Maybe in 2 weeks, maybe mention it, talk about
yeah,
it.
for sure.
Oh, sweet.
Actually, the code's all written. The code's all written. The documentation is not, and I have some unresolved failures that I need to
Groovy.
investigate.
Groovy.
Yeah.
Exciting. All right, cool. That'll be. I will pencil you in as a topic next week after triage.
Oh, all right, cool.
All right, that's it. You guys have a good one. Thanks for joining the stream. Ron, it's great to see you. Paichula, you've probably bailed by now, but it was great having you while you were here. And you probably were curious about the Visual Studio show, given that he was number 5, and it's probably why he showed up, and then was hopefully happy to see that we punted it off the Visual Studio team.
Maybe not so happy, but
Well, hey, they reopened the issue. It sounds like it made progress.
yeah.
So
No, this is good. This is good.
yay! All right, 2 weeks.